Well, I guess we can wait for the press. All eyes are upon you, don't worry. Don't be nervous, it's all right. Okay, tonight's meeting is our committee meeting. Tonight's meeting is a committee meeting, and I don't think I see any new faces, so I don't have to explain too much here. So why don't we just dig in and head to our management committee. Dr. Martell is not here this evening. Steve, would you please go ahead and move that?
Item A. Item B. Item C. Item D. Item E. Item F. Item G. Item H.
When I did talk to Glenn earlier this week, or the end of last week, whichever, he had told me he wasn't going to be here, and he had some opinions or some things that I thought maybe he wanted to bring up, talking about policy 903, and I said, if he can't make it there, we'll either wait for him to get here, but that might not be till 8 o'clock, and we'll breeze him through pretty well. So anyways, his concern... Sue, my only concern with the new public input policy is the 3-minute rule. If only 10% of the public goes over 3 minutes, I don't see the need for change. Thank you for discussing this with the board at the committee meeting. So I did say that we would address his concern and make comments back on it, or can stand as is. 2 of you, 3 of you were not here last week to have time to express opinions. Nobody called me and asked any questions, so I didn't know if you were waiting for now or if you agreed with the way it looked.
I don't really have any questions, I don't think. I guess, what prompted us to do this again? And what now?
Several reasons. I've gone to a presidential workshop. One of the first ones is I've gone to a presidential workshop and we were going over agendas, we were looking over policies. What can the PSB, Pennsylvania School Board Association, do for you? And this was one of the ones that they said, oh, is that how you're running the meetings? Yeah, is there a different way? You know, enlighten me. And then we were going around that room. Everybody can do it a little bit differently, but the majority of them were following the school board policy, Pennsylvania school board policy, and this is what we copied from them.
So they do only 3 minutes, the Pennsylvania School Board policy says only 3 minutes.
We asked that of our solicitor, and he said that's the majority.
I think it probably depends too on how many people. You know, we had a lot of, had, I don't know, 15 or so people. Yeah, it makes a huge difference if you're going 5 minutes compared to 3 minutes. I don't know.
Could we do something like that? Like if it's gonna be, if we have like 20 green sheets, then we change it to 3 minutes? But normally, like if there's 2 people, I hesitate because I want to, our goal here is we want the community to come in. We want them to share their concerns. We don't like it when they're not here, we reprimand them when they're not here, and then when they're here, we reprimand them because they speak too long. So that, I don't know, that feels a little like contradictory to me. So I guess if we go on a, if we see that there's 25 people speaking, and we're like, okay, this is gonna take us forever. Tonight, we're gonna do 3 minutes. Tonight, on a different night, there's only 2 people speaking, we'll stick to the normal 5 minutes. I don't know.
The only thing is you have to, in some way, shape or form, you need a policy, you need a
That
rule to fall
states that.
back on.
Right.
Correct.
It would have to state that.
Go like 10 or, is this, whatever, loud enough, sticking it in and out, but no. I don't know.
I think the only thing about that is people come prepared for 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And to say when they get here, your 5-minute speech is now 3 minutes, they're sitting there. Some people can eloquently get up and speak just without notes, but those who have come with a prepared speech now are kind of either have to talk very fast or cut.
And you can tell when a person has a prepared speech or when they're just up there and, I think I'm going to start talking now. And if you're sitting here watching it, the ones with the prepared speeches invariably are hitting the 3 minutes. The ones that are not so prepared are the ones that are going over.
We haven't always done the best job of cutting them off either, when, you know what I'm saying?
And sometimes you try to cut them off, and then, the loud crowds out there cheering or clapping or whatever, and egging them on, and they'll keep going a little bit more too. So, and sometimes if you can tell that they're winding down, you're looking here at the timer, and okay, we can give them 10 or 50, because you can tell they're on their last couple of sentences.
I haven't heard everybody else's thoughts, I don't want to take up too much time, but since I haven't been part of the conversation, I feel a little bit, behind the times. So, is everybody else feeling like the 3 minutes great, and
One of the things that was in here, and we put it in here so we would do due diligence so that everybody would have time to discuss it, is whether you should contact the board ahead of time if you wanted to speak. And I know that was a little confrontational here among the board, But that's why we left it in, so that everybody would have time, so they would, hey, you never thought about that. No, we did think about it. Here, let's discuss it and either bump it out or not. Was contacted by several businessmen since we've, several in the district businessmen that were, thank you. They think this is much better because you do need to get the business portion done, and then you can start. They were very, very, very supportive of that. One of them said, maybe if somebody called in ahead of time, well, then that kind of person you could give the 5-minute to as opposed to 3-minute. I'm like, oh. And then he said, I don't know how you'd ever implement that, but you know, we're just, we're not going to worry about that call.
I know last month I spoke up with some concerns that I had. I feel like I appreciate the time that we had to go through it and make the changes. I appreciate the time that we've had to hear back from the community as well. I have looked into some surrounding school districts, and I feel like what we have here is presenting an opportunity for the community to give feedback of what's on the agenda and then follow up at the end. I think that's definitely reasonable. I support that. Dr. Bell did provide the PSBA recommendations that were mentioned last month, and I feel like it's definitely in line with what PSBA is recommending. I appreciate taking the notification ahead of time out and those tweaks that we discussed last month. I would encourage, I know there's not a lot of community here, but if you're watching it online, I would encourage you to come out next month and or next week and give feedback prior to the vote on the, it would be tentative next week, correct?
We already had the first reading, this would be the
This
second
would be the final?
reading. That's
Okay,
correct.
so we would definitely need to hear feedback next week prior to the vote on the final. The only thing that I would still, I still support is, I don't see a reason not to keep it at 5 minutes. If people want to speak for 5 minutes, whether it's prepared or not, I feel like we have an obligation to listen, so my recommendation is to just keep it at 5. But I will, as we made the changes, my vote last month was because I felt like we didn't have the time to hear back from the community and really process it through. But as it stands, I will support it.
You'll support it at a 5.
I'll support it at 5.
Because I think right now, the way it reads, it is.
It is currently at a 3. I mean, I want to hear from other people before I make the definite.
There's a little bit I've been here the last couple of years, I don't think the 5 minutes are an issue, other than maybe the last couple of months. You know, what normally be an issue, probably not. I think 3 minutes is a little short, if you want to say or speak your mind.
I have to admit, sometimes when it's a prepared 5 minute and I can follow and go on, when we're giving them 5 minutes and it's not prepared, they do a disservice to themselves because I'm starting to, as much as I don't want to wander, I'm starting to wander because I'm not getting it. That's
I
my
would
concern.
agree.
But you can ramble at 3 or at 5.
Tend to get a little repetitive.
But for the most part, it's not been that way.
Yeah, well, the last couple of months.
I think we on the board ramble sometimes.
Other than that, yeah.
Never, Amy, never.
Cutting each other off.
I would support the 5 minute, sticking with 5 minutes.
So, three, 5 is not. We put in for 3, but you can get it for 5.
I think we should do 5. I think that's
You're a
less.
5, you're a 5.
That's
I mean,
less.
I thought about 4 would be okay.
Compromise 4. I'm all about compromise. 4 sounds good.
I think you have first.
Yeah, I like your numbers better.
So am I hearing 4?
We're 4 1/4.
Okay, sure.
I
3,
mean,
4,
3
5.
seems really short. 4, I'd be for
4? Be a little different on the edge.
Yeah, everybody's either 3 or 5. I like to be different.
then Mary, if you could please change that to a 4 for next week.
Okay.
Anything, anybody have any other?
I just think that hopefully the public understands why other entities do this. And I really appreciate you taking your own personal time and going to a workshop and trying to pick out the best practices that other school districts do. And I think for me, I'm not hung up on if it's 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. I just think that the public or way a business meeting should be run is the public should come and voice what you're voting on. So it helps make your final decision of what's on the agenda. And then after that, after your business meeting's done, then we need to hear on things that we're not going to vote on that night. We only vote on what's on the agenda. So that, you know, it's appropriate to get the business out of the way and then focus on whatever the hot issue.
And I don't have to be thinking about this. I just feel like I can pay much better attention to what they're saying to me.
It doesn't delete or distract from the amount of time that we're willing to sit here. We're not putting a time limit on it. I know people feel that we're just trying to take their right away from them. I actually think it's going to enhance and improve how we operate our meeting, and I think that's why there's so many other districts that do this for them.
I think another thing is it's good for the community to see the whole meeting. You know, people who have, you know, issues or whatever that they want to talk about may not be on the agenda. It's good for them to see the whole meeting, not that we're doing it for that reason to make them stay, but I think it's helpful for them to hear how things go and how things, you know, happen. So, you know, I like the fact that the things that are on the agenda go to at the end. I think that that's a really good idea.
Okay, anything else that's new? You're reading the portion, are you looking at the whole print here? We're good to go for a vote next week, Elise? Thank you. Steve?
All right, item I. Item J. Item K. And I think Sue, you may have some words about this other reduction.
Words or words of wisdom?
Word of wisdom.
Information that you've been receiving from PSBA, you are all getting it, and it's, there's a lot, but we asked for it, rather be informed than not. You should have already been given the biographies, and you should have been able to read them, okay? And I read them, and I made a choice, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who I chose. Yeah, good, huh?
You can tell us next week.
Well, the one, the president, and I'm pretty sure it's the gentleman, Mark Miller, that was I'm looking at what he'd already done and where he's gonna go, and I think Mary could learn a lot from him, but she's not ready yet to jump in. Do you remember looking at the other three?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I remember looking at them. Do you remember what you read about them?
Yeah, I do. I was more impressed, I think, with Schwartz. But
Did any of them come, there was not a specific recommendation?
I don't think, no.
Okay. Well, then all I can tell you to do is go home and
Yeah,
read them.
Not like a ballot vote, right? You circle the one that you want. Am I remembering it?
The board gives, you go as one, and Mary casts the ballot
Oh,
first.
okay. Oh, okay.
Anything else, Steve?
No, that'll be everything.
Okay, any questions for the management committee from anybody else? Moving on to programs and Director Sell.
Any questions on item A?
Why are they requesting for the van rental fee to be waived? You know?
Just reduce their costs.
Have we approved it that way before? No.
I don't believe so.
A traditional request from Rusty.
And we usually,
Major
Yeah.
answer.
we usually.
Make
Make
it
them
bad.
That's what I was thinking, I was like, do I remember that for sure? Okay.
So if we vote no to this, then do we need to
No, if you,
separate that out?
if you decide tonight to have us take off, waive the van rental fee, we will
Take it off. And then you
can approve it
That's what's been,
as it stands. It'll just be a line through.
right.
You guys
Just have to let us know.
Right?
Item B, same
Same
thing. Any questions on C? D?
That would be with regrets.
I know.
19 years.
19 highly successful years and not just winning, but with the kids, yes.
Yeah.
That's too bad, but do what you gotta do.
Item E,
Are these,
Are these what?
I'm waiting for Dave to wake up.
Listen in over here.
Are these new positions or are they filling positions that existed?
They are, yeah, we did not add any new positions this year. They're just positions that either somebody would have left from last year and we're refilling the position.
And did these individuals start in their, I mean, all the fall sports are far into their seasons already? Have already started or they're waiting for tonight's approval?
You know, these people were able to start, Dr. Bell was able to approve them in August.
Okay, that's good.
We do have one unfilled position yet as the assistant boys soccer, so that's one position that's unfilled.
Is that the high school or the middle school?
It would be technically a high school position.
And on a side note, not with these names, I got an email that was quoting some numbers from some of the sports, like middle school, and I don't know if he's right or not, maybe you'd have a better handle on it, but like middle school field hockey had eight players out, and middle school cross country, I think only had, I think it was four runners out, while some other sports had a lot, significant, large numbers, and the question was, how do we figure out how many coaches do we have to handle appropriate number of athletes?
Right. Well, middle school field hockey is 12 now.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, and cross country has a group.
Okay.
We have, as far as cross country goes, middle school, we have one coach, but actually we ended up with two people because they split the position. Okay, so that's why we have two there. You have to have at least one coach. You can't go any lower than that. But my opinion is that, especially at the middle school level, if you're teaching fundamentals, it is difficult even to have 10, 12 people and adequately work with those kids, at an intense level if you have one person. I think for the quality of the program, I think two coaches is necessary, even though you get some low ratios there, like that. But I would be hesitant to go less than two coaches in my opinion. I mean, again, the goal is to build the numbers up.
Right.
It's not to.
So what do you do if you have an influx of students participating in the sport at the middle school level, that the ratio is much closer to 20 to 1?
Yeah, we actually have that in middle school girls soccer, there's 40 students out.
Did you say 40?
40, yes, in middle school girls soccer, yes. In my opinion then, it's up to the head coach, I think, to use the assistants as needed. that's how I would do
The,
it.
the head coach of the
Yeah.
varsity
Yeah,
program?
like when you said the one position, you said, is that a high school position? I kind of view it like this. Let's say I'm a head coach and I have 4 assistants. And I let the head coach put those assistants where they think they need to.
Okay.
That's how they should do it.
And do you as AD give any guidance to that, or you just leave that up to the?
I have not interfered with that at this point. Now if I see that there's some big ratios and things aren't being dealt with properly, then I might say to that person, why don't you shift the resource? That kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, development is very important, but especially at the younger ages, I think it's more of a, to me, it's more of a safety issue as well.
Now, we do have a good veteran coach with the middle school girls soccer, Mr. Snyder. He definitely has things in order and everything's going well. So again, it depends on the coach you have.
Yeah.
So,
But in the past, if you had big numbers at the top and big numbers at the bottom, we requested an extra coach and it usually was granted by the board.
But we didn't request any extra coaches this year. So. One thing on a good note, we are getting a lot of schools that are not filling their JV programs in high school and middle school. A number of them. We've been able to fill every program except for middle school JV field hockey. That's low right now.
Somebody told me that at the scrimmage last night, that the girls soccer JV team played 9v9 and soccer's typically 11v11.
Right, because if other teams don't have enough people, they'll play that.
So we have enough, so that was Hamburg that didn't have enough, okay.
Yeah, rather than just cancel it.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, we're gonna have some 7-on-7s because of that.
So will you adjust the size of the field for that, or will you,
I don't think they do. No, they don't adjust.
hopefully you don't get 3v3 on that thing too.
So,
You've got one more, I think.
I know, and I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know. And the
You know what, this
last-
paperwork's
sorry.
great, I'm not going back to this. This girl's good now.
The last is F, which is the winter coaches, which is attached. There's no questions, and that concludes programs.
Any questions for Amy or the committee? Okay. Rachel, then, would you please, oh, I'm sorry, we had a request that Matt do this one. Matt, would you please do programs?
Item A, any questions, item A? Item B.
So I guess I direct this one to you, Mr. Gilbert. So now, when we're sending out these building use requests, I saw that it was a suggested donation. Is that how we're handling?
we have the word donation on it. I don't think it says suggest, I think it just says donation. Does it say suggest?
I think it said suggested. It's not. Oh, okay, that's how it
What is
goes.
that?
It says donation and then it's suggested, so. And, well, I don't know if that's you're doing, or whomever, but I think that's much more appropriate than what we have been doing.
I have a couple questions. On one, I'm not sure where it goes under, and one goes underneath our committee. Last year, we had the state police that came in on a rotating basis. And I know we're not doing that this year, is that correct?
Correct.
What are we doing, are we in place of that?
We've held several interviews at this point for the last 2 weeks. Selection yet.
Okay. And I know Jonestown's sidewalk has been torn up. Is there an update on that progress? Or?
Paul's at that meeting tonight.
Okay.
Or
Oh, okay, that's right. So So next week we'll have an update as to what's going on with that.
We should.
Got a bridge update?
October,
Budget update, November?
maybe a little later than the bridge.
And give us some comments on busing. Do we have enough drivers this year? Does anybody have enough drivers this year?
No, I mean, we have the typical challenges, like I shared with the board before. I think you, and timings are different issues, but I think you want to seriously, I'm going to recommend again, that you seriously think about a actual secretary for that position.
Since we have a little, since you said about update on transportation, I will give a little just personal, which I shouldn't, but, we've talked about sixth grade transition and, just the process, and we're in the second year, and I just want to say my own personal experience has been amazing. I am so thrilled.
Okay, in that case, talk into your microphone.
I cannot say enough about middle school and the staff and the transition and everything that they have done to make my family feel at ease. It has just been wonderful. The original open house, or there was a parent meeting in May, which was great going into the summer. Then there was an August open house to go in and have the kids get to know the locker and the scavenger hunt. It was just amazing. And first day of school was phenomenal. I can't say enough about the tech program, the new devices. I wish Nate is not here, but the new device that we have is just incredible. We have loved using that. I'm just so impressed with the teachers and how they use Classroom. What is it called? Google Classroom, Google whatever. If you just call out to it, Google Classroom open up, or Google show me the story of, and stuff pops up. It's amazing, and it's touchscreen, and the dialogue, the communication from the teachers has been wonderful, from emails to homework assignments to the Remind app, all these 21st century learning ways to communicate. I just can't say enough. So I haven't had the chance to sit down at my computer and write individually to every single person that has touched my daughter in the past week to say thank you, including the nurse, because on my first day of school Monday, I got the call that she was sick, so I had to leave to go pick her up, but the nurse was wonderful as well. But it has been great. So that's just since we had a little extra time, I probably went over my 5 minutes. You should have cut me off
I
at 8.
No, you were saying that. You were saying such good things.
But since we had a little extra time at the end, I just had to give a shout out to the school. So, not that I didn't love Jonestown, because Jonestown is great too.
Okay. And I'm putting nobody on the spot, but if there are any administrators, first I want to comment that thank you very much for the first day report, and things looked, well, you know, I was waiting for that report to read it. It sounded like things went very, very well. Hearing very good things from the students, from the parents. I'm going to ask you next week again how everything went, but if you'd like to say anything this evening first, and be reminded that you are going to be put on the spot next week. No, I'm just looking at Rizzo in the back, and he's like, I want to talk. I think I'm going to. No, you're good? What is the Jonestown rap?
I was introduced to the Jonestown rap day one by our music department.
So it already existed, you
It
didn't
had
bring this?
existed. I believe Mr. Wenger was responsible for writing the rap, and he had music department. Maybe you can do it for us.
Mr. Lindbergh's been doing it for years.
Yes, yes.
My kids have it memorized.
We had an assembly, and Mr. Lindbergh, Mr. Ennis, Mr. Heck, the new music teacher, all three of them used their instruments, and once we got all the kids in the gym, they started playing, and it was a pretty neat, upbeat environment. So myself and a lot of the students were introduced to the rap to start the year off. It was a neat experience.
So were you going to learn an instrument?
if I want to join that club, I think I need to. The kids were pretty impressed, so I think that's going to be the next hobby I take up, yes. I won't be nearly as good as the music department, but I'll try.
Maybe we should have a singer after.
Oh.
I need a week to
You got a week.
Very
You got a
intense.
week.
Yeah, it is.
Very
Yeah.
intense.
I think you'd be a good saxophone player.
We'll take a note of that, thank you.
Any other administrators have any comments, good, bad? How did your week go? Do you like traveling between two? I mean, everything's,
Things are good. I can't rap, but things are good.
all right. Any other questions that weren't on this agenda, that need to be put on the agenda, or are we good?
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Bell wholeheartedly. Nothing aggravates me more than when I call like Verizon and you sit on that phone for 30 minutes. We'll be right with you as soon as another person's available, okay? And I really think our transportation department needs a secretary so these parents can talk to someone. So can we afford a secretary, Dr. Bell? I really would like to see that on the agenda for next week to approve it. I believe wholeheartedly, I've been saying it all year long. I just think, as a parent, you know, I think, didn't one little kid fall asleep on the bus already this year? And bus driver takes the kid for a ride and the kid's sound asleep, you know, and if there's a secretary there as a panic parent, you know, I just feel we need one. And I think we delayed it. I would like to see us approve it. I think it's time.
Is this a full-time, part-time, one that can share other duties for other things if it is a part-time, or is it necessary for a full-time?
I think we should make it a full-time, and when it's not as busy in the transportation department, I'm sure there's other areas that we can use a secretary in. I've never seen a staff above what we need.
That person shared rights and, sorry, what's it?
Should go to your committee.
I think I'm with Bonnie. I mean, we're getting deeper into the school year by the day, and as a parent, you know, who uses the bus system, or any parent who uses the bus system, when you put your son or daughter on that bus, there's a sense that they're going to get the school fine, and there's a sense that they're going to get home fine, and you kind of forget about the in-between time. You just assume they're going to be fine in school. So it's very stressful, especially for parents who have school in elementary, you know, the early elementary years. And so I think we need this person sooner than later. We don't need to get it caught up in a committee that's going to take a month or two, since we only meet once a month to vote on things. And next week we have the opportunity to approve this. I think we should do that. You feel differently.
I don't know, could we incorporate this person as a right to know officer? Could that be shared duties?
Not the officer per se, but yes.
The right to know.
Collection of data would be a huge help.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah,
That continues. I
And
think.
every year, there's more and more state things that are required and things that need to be entered into the computer and things like that. I'm with Bonnie.
I really think.
We always have lesser hands on deck than what we always really need. So I don't think this person will be underutilized at all.
Is that something that can be done in a week's time?
That was my next question.
As far as the job description and the level?
Sure.
So next week, we would be voting on creating the position, not a name.
Correct.
So if we create the position, you advertise it, can it be done in 2 weeks? Or then must we actually approve that person, so it's still a month and a week?
You must approve the
So it'd
person.
be a month and a week, but at least we'd be
On the way.
doing it in a way. So-
What's the difference between we approve you in August to make hires for certain open positions? What's the difference between now and that?
just that it doesn't fit in that time frame that you approved.
Okay, so the window's shut for that, okay.
Would we reference back to when we had budgetarily, would we reference back when that was on the list of things for consideration? Is that what we're looking, the implications to the budget, is that what we would refer to, or do we have a recommendation next week?
Recommendation on the position would be a job description, obviously, and a level, an NS level, from the secretary standpoint, which gives you an hourly rate depending upon whether the person has experience or not, and where it is in the salary placement schedule. It would be very similar to every other job description that we would have. I'm not sure I understand your budget question.
I was just in my mind, that was one of the, on the wish list, and then from several months ago. So that's why I was just in my head trying to think back to that. Would that person be housed, where is transportation now?
In this building.
In this room?
It'd be in this building,
See that column right there?
Where were you pointing to?
up right on the other side of that wall and hallway.
I thought that was the kitchen.
No, that's
You got a
okay.
bug.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. So that person would be housed here as well? Most likely.
They'd be housed in this building, yes.
Okay.
What exactly is the need in terms of parents' involvement with this person?
Well, should I answer that? What has happened is, in the past, our transportation owns buses also. So he's out on bus runs, okay, because if he's short a driver, he does the driving. So like, say one of these parents, okay, their kid's on the bus, and say little Joey fell asleep, okay, on the bus, when they call in, that transportation office, there's nobody there to answer the phone. And that's my concern. You know, I think a parent has a right to talk to somebody when there's a bus issue, whether or not little Joey fell asleep on the bus, or whether or not little Joey was punched on the bus, or whatever. We do not have anybody there. They have to call the principals, okay? And the principal, you know, our transportation people know the routes better and know what bus it is without, for instance, first day of school, I don't know if this is true or not, but they said that a little middle school kid refused to get on the bus because he didn't believe that yellow bus was his, okay? So there's issues that come up all the time. Now luckily, usually the first day of school, Matt, who is our transportation director, comes to the high school because, believe it or not, most kids do not look, when they're in middle school, at their bus numbers. And they'll come flying out of the building and we'll say, what bus are you on? And they're looking around like, oh, they're all yellow. You know, what are we supposed to do? So he has a list of every kid's name and he'll say, okay, it's bus, and principals all have a list and we're running around trying to get them on the bus, which what happens is, now we're delaying our buses up on top. So guess who's all laid down underneath is our elementary. And what I'm saying is, I think it's a good thing to have a secretary to help with all the transportation needs that we have in this district. You know, we're 144 square miles. Those buses run a long way and they're on the road, you know, for some time. So I just think, instead of getting, this is Matt Seller's office, we, you know, leave, you know, he might have 100 messages the first day. Do those parents get a return phone call?
There's also a lot of van issues as well for
Exactly.
special needs
Right,
students.
special
If
needs
they're running
kids.
late,
He
there's
does
an
every-
issue.
So would this person have then the ability to communicate with the drivers of each of these
Right.
vehicles?
Right, and able to get a hold of Matt better than probably these guys sitting over here, again.
Has
So I-
Matt requested a secretary?
Yes, Matt has, and it's actually in the transportation contract.
Okay.
I think we could stop a lot of concerns and gripes
Exactly.
from parents if we just had somebody to talk to right at the very beginning.
And that is not every morning or afternoon is he called out on a bus run,
No.
but too many. And he's not the only bus, people think he is the only bus company owner, and that's not true. There's several, there's three, at least three companies
Yeah.
that are employed.
Could we give Dr. Bell, like we do in August, allow him to hire this position?
That's what.
Instead of waiting, if we think it's a big deal, instead of waiting until October, could we do that next week?
If it's in our contract, and we already need to be, it's already in the contract. We're all staring at you.
No, it's just administrative information. There's no official contract.
There's no provision
So we can't do that.
No, contractually, there, it's just professionals and administrative, it doesn't include classified, so you don't have to wait a period of time.
Oh, okay. So we can do that. You could go ahead and start.
So as soon as we
Interview.
would approve the job description?
Correct, you need to approve the position.
So even though the contract does say that you're supposed to be providing
Providing
them,
one or not providing one, we still get job descriptions.
Yes.
Okay. Well, a week is better than a month in a week.
And that person will be a Northern Lebanon School District employee? And will they receive benefits and the whole package? And would they be unionized, or would they be,
Our classified staff is not unionized.
okay.
that was you who brought that up, Bonnie, right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you have anything else? You hit a home run on that one, I would just. All right.
I have something. Are you about done? I don't know if anybody noticed since we have so many Facebook fans, if you noticed our post from our school district today, if you haven't looked at that, I would recommend, especially the community, the incredible benefits that our students have by taking college in the classroom. It was posted today about the benefits that my kids have personally seen, great benefits from this program. One finished, had a semester already taken care of before he even went to school, had a great savings to us, and my other children also have taken advantage of those high school, college in the classroom. But what I wanted to bring your attention to, I think sometimes we forget who we have in our administration, from Dr. Bell all the way down to these guys that are sitting here, and they all make the school what it is. And if that post, I would like you to all look at it. A tweet by the HAC president, Dr. Ski. He met this week, I believe, for something great that's coming in maybe December. It may be unveiled. I think that's even listed in here. And I know Dr. Bell won't do this, so I'm going to do it. Dr. Ski met with Northern Lebanon Superintendent Don Bell, one of the most progressive educators and strong HAC supporters. Always leaves excited and hopeful. And so I thought that was pretty impressive. We sit here, we hear a lot of stuff. We hear a lot of things that people like to throw out the fan, and they don't care where that lands or how it affects people. But I would like us to be reminded again of leadership that we have in place and the benefits that our students have received over the years. My one son's been out of college going on 2, and he was in high school. This was already in place. And so I would like just to compliment not only Dr. Bell, but also you guys that make it happen. And also while I'm talking and giving some roses, I came to the school about every day this summer, and I think our maintenance crew has done an incredible job with our campus. Every day, you think summertime they could slack off and let it get, not have to worry about it so bad, but they kept this place immaculate. Almost every building, every school, all properties. They took the trees down behind the tennis courts, which really cleaned up that whole area. And I'd like to commend our staff that works so hard in making our place look so nice. And they consistently do it. And so Paul walked in because he knew he was hearing some good things. Just complimenting you guys and your staff for keeping our grounds so well taken care of through the summer months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will pass that along.
Did you want, who had the sidewalk question? Did you want to ask him?
Sure, what's the update on the sidewalk?
Good news or the bad news?
Both.
Okay. I was just with the borough council, this evening, asked for a waiver. The area that's in orange doesn't meet code compliance. Should be 2% slope for ADA. We can't meet that, so we had to go for a waiver. They granted the waiver, will be about no more than 3%. They granted the waiver to go ahead and pour that concrete. But the bad part now, at each end of Hazel Street, down by South Lancaster and up by whatever that one, by the Paramount King, there are handicapped ramps that come in from the street onto the curb. Those have to be replaced because we touched the rest of the concrete. We got to bring those up to code now also, even though they asked the question, why did you have that part of the scope? That concrete is fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but it touches what we're doing. We got to bring it up to code. Okay? So I asked the question, I said, we'll do it now, but I think for the safety of the kids, I'd rather do it summertime because of all the traffic walking across there. They said, no, it'll be done by mid-November. That part will be ripped out and poured. I don't know when. It might be weekend work to do it and things like that. Same as the bus lobby. We got to take out a chunk going up into the bus lobby because of getting our 2% slope, which we don't meet. To minimize that, we got to take out a chunk of concrete in there also. So we're probably going to break up that concrete on a Saturday. Talk with John, see about noise and all that stuff over there, what we can do, and move forward that way. But all in all, it will be poured by hopefully Thanksgiving, and we'll be in compliance and as best of compliance as we can be. So, and I had to take the fault for not going getting permits and all that because we both thought we're just putting back as is. We don't need to do anything. We're putting back as is, and we didn't meet compliance, so that's where it was a red flag, and then everything else started. So we're going to be okay. And I think I was there for the first day of school. We didn't have any. I had one adult and one child getting off the bus where the bicycle ramp is. As you saw, that's moved back into the mulch. That piece has to get broken up and be torn out of there just so we can meet the 2% slope. That's why I painted it yellow as the kids walked up so they don't trip. They had one kid and one adult trip there, but that will go back in as stone because it won't be a walkway now because it's not a walkway, it's a way we can meet 2% slope. And then also where the bus entrance is, as you're going up on the left-hand side, from the pole to the building, there'll be a railing across there. So as you come down from the fire company side, coming down against the building, you have to, once you hit the railing, you have to come out closer to the road and then go around, and all has to do with meeting the 2%, the slopes and all that. That was the best case scenario that we could come up with to make work. So you're going to see those changes and things like that in the future there as well. Any questions on that?
Are you doing all the work yourself, Paul?
No. We hired out, I was going to do the concrete ourselves until this past winter broke up the curbing real bad throughout the whole thing, and I could do curbing, but I wouldn't do anything else, as far as my normal job. So we hired out through, and some people say I don't do anything anyways, I'll throw it in there for we hired out, we tagged on with the roofing project. We found out that it's all through the KPN program, the Keystone Purchasing Network, that allows us to do it under like a state contract type of work there.
And it doesn't sound like that large of a dollar project, so are you able to do it under, get away from not using prevailing wages, or is it subject to prevailing wages?
We come out of our bond account, no.
It does not.
It's not going to be.
It doesn't stay under the prevailing wage.
What's that limit now? It's like $100,000, isn't it? I thought it got increased with the gas tax.
It's like 25.
25.
Oh, only 25. What was it before?
I thought it was always 25. Well, I don't remember.
Can't do much for 25.
Oh, no.
So what was our timeline on this? I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just, how are we, why are we only doing this right now?
I started, I contacted House, or they actually contacted, we talked when we were taking.
When did we find out we had to do it? I guess that's what I'm looking at, that we were not able to implement it during the summertime. Have we noticed for 2 years? Have we noted for 2 weeks?
No, the curbing just really blew apart this past winter and really didn't look at it all that hard. And then when I did start looking at things, it's probably May, in that range. And then I talked with Hal while they were tearing the chimney down. They said they could do the work. So we talked, he got me a price, and then knowing how much we were, it all has to go through different channels. I just couldn't give them the work until people get you the price back, and you go back and back and back. We finally signed everything, and they were very generous to us. They pulled people off of doing work at Letterkenny Depot to come here and do the work just to get us done what they did get done when we started school. But until you get all the paperwork signed, it just doesn't happen. If I could just say, here, go do it. You know, it's legalities, unfortunately, but I don't know, that's up to the next time.
I just feel I just know farming wise, my husband and I were sitting writing down all the permits we have to go through that people have no clue. So when we got on the second page of just permits that we had to get, and we're not that big of a farm, you know, my heart goes out to anybody who has to go through this crap, quite frankly. When do we, thank you very much. Does anybody else have any questions for Paul? When do we run out of money?
I'm going to assume your question is in relationship to the budget.
Yes.
Okay.
In general, as a school district, we're 50-some% comes from the local community, or a little bit more than 50%. So in general, we look at probably around the December range. In the same token, Dan, as precautionary measures, we were getting things set up so that if we do need to take out loans, that process, you talk about paperwork, that process is already completed. So that'll be ready to go in case we need it. So it would be December from the largest standpoint, in my opinion.
Okay, and I'm asking that question. So we have prepared our paperwork at what cost financially?
We've actually gotten quotes, we talked with Fulton Bank, and we're looking at an application fee of somewhere around $3,500. And then interest rates, that would depend on the credit worthiness that they view the school district is at. But right now, they're looking at prime rate, which is about 3.25%, and possibly less.
So the school district, it'll cost us maybe $3,500 to set up this paperwork, money we will never recover,
That's correct.
all because this budget's not passed.
That's correct. Plus the interest if we have to borrow.
Correct. And I hope everybody listens to that, listens hard, and puts some pressure on whomever they can put pressure on there, because I don't think people realize how you just, we lose money. You all lose money. And
How large of a line of credit are you looking to get?
Well, if we're looking at, I have no idea. We get it as we need it. If we need it for half a year, it's $17 million. Now, obviously, we're not gonna go a whole year without some type of a state budget. But we don't have to pay any interest, only on what we use. So if we have the entire line of credit, if we need $1 million this month, we just give $1 million and pay interest on that type of.
And have you looked at any other banks? Because
Not yet, but I intend to do so.
I think Prime sounds like a pretty expensive rate.
Well, we'll see what the others have.
But in my IU report next week, I'll tell you that 3,500 is paltry compared to what the IU, and, you know, we're all in that too, you know, we're helping to fund them. People just have no idea the ramifications of all this, I guess.
And the CTC.
I think that needs to be put out to our legislators yet too.
Before yeah, the hack situation, I know that we had always had a representative to talk to them. Do we know anything?
And you're gonna be it when,
I would like
you
to.
get notified that they're ready?
No, got no information.
I would like to learn more about that.
It sounds like we do have a good one, but, yes, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, any other questions you need to come before the board?